Now we're doing FreeCodeCamp Legacy Python for everybody. Networking, web scraping with Python. All right. So let's make sure we got our notes out like this. Let's go to the bottom. All right. And let's start the video up.
So now we're going to talk about what you would do with a web page once you've retrieved it in a Python program. Call this web scraping. And so web scraping or web spy.
Okay. Before he tells us, let's write this down so we can know what he's going to say. All right. So let's start here. We'll say, what is web scraping? Hey, I'm just going to call you KH. How you doing? So we've got what is web scraping right here. Let's do that. What is web scraping? Question mark. All right. And we're going to say here when a program or script pretends to be a browser. Okay. When a program or script pretends to be a how is it number one, how is it pretending to be a browser if we literally just wrote the thing and called it a browser? Right? I mean, are we really pretending, or are we just doing, you know, this guy's acting like we're freaking going in and robbing the place. I don't think that's what it is. I think web scraping is, it's like reading a book and keeping the information, right? Pretends. All right. When a program or script pretends to be a pretends browser. Okay, we're not doing that. We'll change this in ChatGPT. That's what we'll do. All right. To be a browser and retrieves web pages. Looks at those. Why do we need pretends? When a program or script retrieves web pages, there we go, looks at those web pages, looks at them. How about that? How about we just use our pronouns? Extracts information and then looks at more pages. Okay. And then the next part is it's search is engines. Hold on. Search engines scrape web pages. We call this web crawling. We're not calling it spidering in this thing. Web crawling. Web crawling. All right. And there we go. So now let's go.
Spidering is the act of retrieving a web page, extracting the links from those web pages, making a queue of unretrieved links, and then moving on. And eventually the idea is if you had enough time, energy, bandwidth, and storage, you could find your way to most of the web pages on the internet that are point to or are pointed to by other web pages. And so...
All right. Why scrape? Because it's a good way to make money. But it's also a good way to get information about one's industry. Why scrape? Yes, why? Pull data. Who links to who? What the hell kind of... Oh, give me a second. I'm about to freaking explode. I don't even know. How is this even... This is supposed to be university level, you know? And I guess it is because it's that hard to understand. Particularly social data. Who links to who? All right. To pull data. How about that? All right, that's better. A little bit better. To get our own data back out of some system that has no export capability. What does that mean? Well, I guess that's what we'll hear in just a little bit. Or maybe he'll just skip it. We'll see. To monitor sites for new information. Yep. To crawl the web to make databases for search engines. Engines. Yep, that's the word. Engines. That's a stupid looking word. All right. To pull data, particularly social data, who links to who? Oh, okay. I would never use it for that. That seems so creepy. I guess creeping and crawling, right? To get our own data back out of some systems that has no export capability. What that means, hopefully he tells us. I don't know. To monitor sites for new information. This is important. This is the main important thing. Because, you know, if you're in an industry, you'd like to know what the news is, right? What the news in your industry is, straight from the source. Like, let's say you're an accountant, and you want to know new tax laws, right? So you web scrape every day, once a day, the IRS website to see if there's new tax laws that came out, you know, and, you know, there we go. Basically that, I guess. And then to crawl the web to make, this is what Google does. I'm not interested in that at all. Although maybe one day we'll do something like this. Not today, but this is the most important thing right here, right? This, I don't even know what that means. Let's go.
You might have all kinds of reasons to scrape data. You might have a blog that you posted. You might have, who knows, maybe you put some data in a system. Maybe the system's being shut down because it's being retired. You can do all kinds of things. You could write a little thing. I was talking to somebody who wrote a thing to retrieve something and check, and then send a text when something changed. All kinds of stuff. Or you might make yourself a search engine. But be careful.
Told you he wouldn't go through it. It's so annoying when this guy does that. Oh, let's go to ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT. We've actually got the preview of the special one right now, so we'll use the special ChatGPT while we're at it. Let me do that real quick. I'm gonna open up ChatGPT. We'll use 01, I think that's what it's called. 01 preview. You know, we're gonna use the 01 preview to let us know what this crap means. The guy didn't even talk about it. Literally didn't even talk about it. Okay, so let's think of a prompt. Explain this in simple terms, based on using Python for web scraping. All right. Boom. There we go. Let's have the new 01 preview. They say this costs a lot of money to do this, and like we're totally getting subsidized hard for this right now. But I don't care. Whatever. I paid $20 a month for like almost 2 years now, over a year for this. Yeah. Anyway, so let's do. So here we go. So why use Python for web scraping? Web scraping is like having a robot assistant that visits websites and gathers information for us. Okay. I knew that. Maybe you didn't, but now you do too. So we're on the same page. Python is a great language for this job because it's easy to learn and has helpful tools. Okay, here's why we might want to scrape data from the web using Python. Collecting data, especially social data. Who links to whom? Okay. Pardon me. So understanding connections. Suppose we want to see how different websites or social media profiles are connected. For example, we might want to find out which websites link to our blog. We don't have a blog, but we might want to know. So I guess that's a good reason. Python makes it easy. With Python libraries like Request and Beautiful Soup, which we'll go over, I think, we can automatically visit websites and extract links to see who is connected to whom. Okay. Analyzing networks. After collecting the data, we can use it to visualize networks, understand influence, and find partnership opportunities. Okay. So it's a lot less creepy than what I was thinking. Retrieving our own data from systems without export options. That's something. All right. Locked in data. Sometimes platforms hold our data but don't let us download it easily. For instance, an old forum where we posted content, but there is no download button. Okay. So using Python to access it, we can write a Python script that logs into the site, navigates to our content, and saves it to our computer. I don't know why we would do that, but I guess some people are that bored to where they're writing important information in forum posts. Okay. Regaining control. This way we can keep a backup of our data and move it to another platform. Why would you do that? I guess it's because ignorance is bliss and some people make some mistakes and others make other mistakes. Monitoring sites for new information. This is the important one. Staying updated. Staying updated. Imagine we're waiting for a product to come back in stock or watching for new job postings. Yes, that sounds good. Automated checks. Python can regularly visit the site, check for updates, and notify us when something new appears. Saving time. This saves us from manually checking the site multiple times a day. And I would do this too. Building databases for search engines. We don't really need to go into this, but we will, because maybe you want to. I don't care, but maybe you care. Creating specialized search tools. Maybe we want to build a search engine for a specific topic, like all the recipes across different cooking blogs. Okay. Or maybe you want to take that and put it into ChatGPT like they did. So crawling the web. Python can follow links from one page to another, gathering information as it goes. True. Compiling data. The collected data can be stored in a database, making it searchable and useful for others. I swear we have to make our own web crawler and we have to make our own large language model, because look, fact is, it is completely illegal what these guys are doing. Okay. You can't just sell this information that you took from everybody. You know, that's so illegal. I mean, it's so illegal, you know, it's just not right at all. But it's so big that they can't prosecute. That being said, if we make our own web crawler and large language model like these guys and like the other guys, we can use it for ourselves. You know, if we make something like this, if we know how to make things like ChatGPT, we can use it for ourselves to go and do the things for us, right? As long as we don't sell the program. As long as we make the program for ourselves. Now, of course, it would take days, maybe even a year. I mean, how much bandwidth do you need to get the whole internet on your device? Whew, a lot. But yeah, you could do it. I don't think it's a good idea. But this thing is so unethical. Whatever, it's available when I'm gonna use it. I don't care. How does Python help with web scraping? It's easy to learn. Python's simple syntax means we don't need to be a programming expert to start scraping. True. Powerful libraries. Requests helps us download web pages. Beautiful Soup allows us to navigate and extract information from HTML. Selenium, I've heard the name, I don't know what it is though. Lets us interact with websites like a real user, which is useful for sites that use JavaScript heavily. Okay. Community support. There are many tutorials and forums where we can get help if we run into problems. Things to keep in mind. Respect website policies. Always check a website's terms of service to make sure we're allowed to scrape it. Okay. Why would I do that? Like, I mean, look, I'm all about, you know, not selling anybody else's information, but at the same time, I'm also all about taking it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not about taking it to sell it, but I am about taking it to use it, because I believe 100% that knowledge. Now you can keep secret knowledge, that's fine. But knowledge, if it's out there, if some idiot was stupid enough to write it down, we all need to be smart enough to read it and write it down ourselves and keep it in a safe place. You know, something like that. Something like that's kind of how I think. Whatever though. Anyway, let's go. Respect this. Yeah, right. Be polite. Yeah, that's good. I wouldn't say polite. I would say be considerate of the fact that they'll kick you out if you go too hard. Data privacy. Be careful with the data, especially if it includes this. Yeah, don't be crazy with it. In a nutshell, web scraping with Python empowers us to gather valuable data that's otherwise hard to collect. True. Automate tedious tasks. True. Build new tools and insights from existing information. It's like giving ourselves... Shut up, ChatGPT. You didn't have to add that stupid crap at the end. It's not a superpower. It's just work. Let's go. Did we already do this? Yes.
All kinds of stuff. Or you might make yourself a search engine.
Yeah,
but
sure.
Be careful.
Okay. Let's type the next part. Scraping web pages. Scraping web pages. All right. There is some controversy about web scraping. There is some controversy about web page scraping, and some sites are a bit snippy about it. Republishing copyrighted information is not allowed. Of course not. You get sued. Violating terms of service is risky. I'm not going to say not allowed, because if you can do it, you can do it. This one you will get sued. This one is like Assassin's Creed, right? You just sneaking around. It's a little Metal Gear Solid. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't care about your terms of service, you piece of crap. Who are you to tell me rules? This is literally stealing. Okay, this is actual theft. But this is not. That's not. I don't think, like I said, taking information is not theft. If you sell other people's information, that's theft. In my opinion. That's when information theft happens. Whatever. Let's go.
Not all websites are happy about you using a robot to retrieve their content. Some of the websites, as we'll see, demand that you log in and they track what you do, and if they think you're doing something bad, they will shut your account off. Other websites will track what you're doing without you logging in, but then shut your address off. And so you have to be careful. You should read up. You should figure out what sites allow you to scrape them. Now, I have some sites that I've set up that you can play with to make it so that it's legit. So,
all right. So let's type this in. The easy way. Beautiful soup. Okay. The easy way. Beautiful soup. Okay. Free software library. Where library from www.crummy.com. I don't know what idiots. Since 2004, it's been saving programmers hours or days of work on quick turnaround screen scraping projects. Okay.
Parsing HTML is difficult. Some of the simple examples, you could probably write a regular expression, or certainly some splitting and some whatever. And what you would find is you would write that code, and you'd retrieve your first 5 web pages, and it would seem to work, and then it would encounter some really weird but legitimate HTML, or maybe even sort of slightly broken HTML. So the web is full of broken HTML, and your browsers just look at it and go like, oh wow, more broken HTML. But they don't put up error messages, and so people just leave broken pages up. But your Python program is going to see those broken pages. So what you would do is you'd be like, oh, here's a new weird way to do an anchor tag. I'll change my code. Oh, and then run for another 100 pages and like, oh no, here's a new weird way to do an anchor tag. And the problem is that you're going to find a lot of different ways to mess up an anchor tag. And someone has already done that. There's a software called Beautiful Soup, and we have installation instructions on how to use it. And really what it is it's somebody just spent months figuring out all the nasty things that could happen and compensated for it and gave you a nice wrapped interface that just says, look, you give me the HTML and I'll give you back the tags, okay? And so it's called Beautiful Soup. And so you have to install this. There's a couple of ways that you can install this. If you're good at extending your Python, you can just, extend and install Beautiful Soup for all Python programs. If you can't change your computer's configuration because you're on a school computer or you're using a USB stick or something, then there's a way to download this file that I've created called bs4.zip. And so what you do is you end up with your file called, URL links.py, and then a little folder called bs4, which is a folder that has a bunch of files in it from the zip file. And then you can run it. And so it'll pull it in, and you'll import from BS4 Beautiful Soup, and that's either going to pull it in from the folder you do, or if you have installed it using the Python installer, it will also you don't have to put this file in. So it's up to you. You can either do it one of two ways.
Okay, so great. Let's back up and let's write that down. All right. So, where are we? Boom. Beautiful Soup installation. Okay. To run this, we install Beautiful, of course. HTTP Hypertext Transfer Protocol secure / pipey.python.org /pipey, okay, /beautiful soup 4. Okay. Or download the file. Download at py4. Let's just take this. Let's take this at least. What did it www.py4e.com code 3 bs4.zip. Okay. And unzip it in the same directory as this file. What does that mean? What's that mean? I don't know. Give me a second. Actually, yeah, give me a second and we'll be right back. All right, I'm back. I got distracted there for a second. All right, so what is this crap? What is this garbage? And what does it mean? Unzip it in the same directory as the file. Let's just put that. Unzip it in the same directory as this file. Which file? That kind of shit, that kind of stuff drives me crazy. But whatever. Let's just type the next part down and then forget about it. Import your urllib dot request, urllib dot parse, urllib dot error, and then we would say from bs4 import beautiful soup. Okay, and that's the other way to do it, I guess. All right, so that makes more sense. I don't know what this one means now. I don't know what this is. I mean, I'm sure it's just a regular zip thing, but for some reason he added that part to confuse us, but whatever. We'll figure it out later. Let's go.
Or generating the code, up to you.
There we go.
You can either do it one of two ways. So this is a little bit of code. Now, Beautiful Soup is a complex library, and so just because this looks easy, doing things in Beautiful Soup, you might have to actually, read a bit more to figure it out. But we're going to just read.
Okay. Anyway, let's type this down before he gets into skipping around as he feels necessary. So what we would do here, let's do this part. Actually, let's drop this part down and tab it over and then get rid of this. Bring it back up and tab this over too. And let's come down here and say URL equals this stuff. So URL equals input. And then we're going to put in here a string that says enter space. And we're going to have some HTML, or we're going to have a variable called HTML, and that's going to be the URL library dot request dot URL open. Okay, and then we're going to put in here the URL as the argument dot read. Okay. Okay, and then we're going to have soup equals that's not it. Beautiful soup. Okay, and then we're going to have HTML as the first argument and HTML dot parser as the second argument, which, okay. We're going to have a little comment here. Retrieve all of the anchor tags. That's what this following code's going to do. We're going to have tags equals soup A. Okay. For tag in tags, what are we going to do? We're going to print tag.get. We're going to have an href. Anything that says href in it or none. Right? Right? I don't know. I don't know what that is. Print tag.get. We'd have to look at the get thing. Beautiful soup HTML. Beautiful soup. So we would say soup at A. Soup at A. Does that mean that's only the HTML and it's not the HTML part? Yeah, I guess so. Ugh. Okay, let's go.
This, we're going to import Beautiful Soup. We're going to ask for a URL right here. We are going to take that URL. We're going to open it. URL open. They give the URL and read the whole thing. That means we're not writing a loop. We've read the whole thing. That's okay as long as you know that the file's not so large. And then we're going to pass the data we got back. And this is going to be bytes, but Beautiful Soup knows all about bytes and all about UTF-8, and it figures that out. And you just say, hey, take that stuff I just got and tear it apart using HTML and give me back an object, a soup object. Now the soup object is something that you can run queries against. So it parses it, it deals with all the imperfections and inconsistencies in this HTML byte array. and it fixes that and gives that back. And so there's various things you can do, and you got to go look at the Beautiful Soup documentation. It could be a whole class on Beautiful Soup. So here's the thing you can do is this object, you can sort of call it like a function and say, hey, give me back the anchor tags. And anchor tags, of course, are the tags that say href equals blah, 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 /a. So all of this is an anchor tag. And then we're going to loop through the tags because there could be more than one of those anchor tags in the file. And then we're going to pull out that href. And that's what this does. We're going to loop through all the tags and print out the href. So if you tell it to go to drchuck.com, it will show you the one external link in drchuck.com. And so I've got
All right, so we got a summary right here. And finally, we're done with this chapter. Very interesting chapter. Very important stuff. So much important stuff that we're going to probably have to go deep diving into things, especially this Beautiful Soup thing, if we want to get into scraping, which we might. So let's do the summary. All right, it's another clean one like last time. The TCP, Transfer Control Protocol, Internet Protocol, gives us pipes, sockets between applications, right? We remember what's pipes and sockets. What are you talking about, right? It means just the connection, the internet, the connection between me and YouTube right now doing this live, and the connection of you and YouTube watching the video, whatever. That's the socket, right? That's the pipe, the socket, whatever we want to call it. So we designed application protocols to make use of these pipes, right? Application protocols have been designed to make use of these pipes. I like that a lot better. Which is, we didn't need to say we on that one. Hypertext transfer protocol, or HTTP, right? HTTP, we'll never forget that, is a simple yet powerful protocol. True. Python has good support for sockets, HTTP, and HTML parsing, right? So the analyzation of that is, Python's good for that kind of stuff, right? And that's the summary of this one. Let's watch him talk about it.
Assignment that sort of goes into that in some more detail. But this chapter has been a whole bunch of interesting stuff. We started with the TCP/IP model and talked about sockets that are phone calls between computers, and then how applications protocols are developed to say what we say on those phone calls. And we've explored then the HTTP protocol, which is probably the most likely thing you're going to see. And then we played with all this in Python and saw that Python is really good at this. You can write extremely simple and small programs to do some extremely complex and powerful things. And again, that's why people like Python, is because it makes the complex simple.
Boom. All right. So we got some jazz music playing as usual. That's the end of that. And now we've got quite a few exercises on this one. Okay, so we're gonna. It's been a while, right? We haven't had one of these in a while, so we've got 3 exercise videos to do before we even get to this question. So we're gonna have a networking web scraping with Python EX1, EX2, and EX3 coming right up. Other than that, let me put this here, and let me refresh the page. Just so this, just for my video purpose, just that. Anyway, that being said, now we're on to networking web scraping with Python, and no, we're not. Now we're on to networking web scraping with Python exercise socket 1. And we'll see you next time.